NBA totals for January 4th. This is Wednesday. We're going live for this session as we break down some NBA totals. This is a segment where we look at all, the totals for the NBA set by odds makers, and we try to either beat that line, either going over or under the total. For you new guys that don't know that, we also have our NCAA basketball segment out there as well that covers the same topic, same concept, same context. And we look at the totals in that as well and try to beat the odds makers either over or under. We got a winning record in both NBA and NCAA, but it's not quite where we want to be. We want to make that margin wider. So we're going to continue to work really hard to do that. And as always, don't forget to check out Sportsbook Review, SBR, all the numbers, all the odds, all the stats, everything's there. All the Sportsbook reviews and sign up bonuses. And don't forget to check out the blacklist as well, Sportsbook that you need to avoid. All right, we got 3 games on the card today in the NBA, and we're going to go ahead and start breaking down some totals here. All right, this is live, so if I make some mistakes here and there, that's just the way it goes. All right, here we go. First one up we got is New York and Milwaukee. I'm also going to talk about the numbers on some of these games as well. New York, they have not been playing well. They're on quite a losing streak. I kind of like them today, though. They're getting a small number. They're getting 2.5. I kind of like them. Right now, odds makers have this total at 212. It started out at 213. I'm going over. I'm going to go over this total. When we look at, they haven't matched up this year. With New York goes so fast. They're the fastest paced team in the league. Right now, they're getting up 89.7 attempts per game. That ranks first in the NBA. Milwaukee has really been different this year under Jason Kidd as far as their defensive percentages and just their pace. They don't go as fast, but they're playing great defense, for the most part. When we look at Milwaukee, well, let's look at some scoring D. Right now, they're allowing just 102.4 points per game. That ranks 8th in the NBA. More impressively, though, they're allowing opponents to shoot just 43.8% from the floor. That ranks 4th. That's a nice job by that Milwaukee team. However, the game is in New York, and I think the Knicks are going to push tempo. I really do. You got New York, they're averaging 105.4 points per game. They're right about in the middle of the league. And their shooting percentages are not that great, but man, those attempts. And I think they're going to come in really hungry tonight, of course, to get a win, because they're on quite the losing streak. And Milwaukee, they're not shy about getting up and down the floor. I mean, they'll go ahead and score. They're a good scoring team. Right now, they're shooting 47.4% from the floor. That ranks 3rd in the NBA. They're playing in New York. I think it's going to be a track meet. Although this line has dropped from 213 to 212, I don't care. I still think it goes over. So I'm going to go ahead and back over the total. Right now it's at 212 at several sports books. Milwaukee, again, they're averaging 104.9 points per game. That ranks in the middle league, but their shooting percentages are great. I mean, they're shooting 36% from distance, and New York doesn't play a lot of defense, and they allow a lot of tempo. So I expect this to get up and down, and even though that line, again, dropped just by a point, I think it gets over. So I'm going to go ahead and back over the total with New York and Milwaukee as I get some coffee. That's going to be a good game right there. Don't be surprised. Knicks are the underdog in that, but I think they win. That might be a pretty good money line play. Next one up, Atlanta and Orlando. Atlanta with the big win over the Spurs in overtime the other day, even though I think that was a foul that freed up, I think it was Hardaway to hit the 3 to send him to OT. That's the first time Coach Buds has beaten his former mentor Popovich, I think, ever. I think he lost all games before that. Anyways, I digress. Okay, we got Atlanta, Orlando. I looked at this one for a while because this was, I thought, was fascinating. Oddsmaker started with it at 205. Now people have jumped on the over. Right now it's sitting around 207.5 and 208. I'm still going under. If you look at the last time they matched up, incredible. 131 to 120. Orlando beat Atlanta in Atlanta, and it wasn't even overtime. But I'm still going under because these are actually, when you think of Coach Buds and Coach Vogel, their foundation is on defense, and they don't go really fast, but they shot just lights out in that game, that 131 to 120. So check this out. So Orlando shot 58.6% from the floor in Atlanta. Unbelievable. Atlanta shot over 50%. Orlando shot 44% from distance. That ranked first in the league. Well, so would the regular shooting percentage. Just ridiculous. And Atlanta shot 40% from distance. I mean, they just shot out of their minds. And that happens sometimes. For example, yesterday in NCAA basketball, I had the under with Kansas State and Kansas. And they came out just on fire. And it continued throughout the whole game. Like the first 10 minutes of the game, they both were shooting 60, 70%. And that happens sometimes in the NBA. I just don't think it happens again. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to back under the total here. Right now, 208 would be the best number to grab it at. So I'm going to go ahead and back under that total. Let's look at some stats with these guys. Give me 1 second here. The last time they matched up before that 131, 120, we had 117 to 110. But odds makers have never set really high totals with these teams recently. It's hard, Vogel's there now, so it's a little different dynamic with Orlando. But that total, that 131 to 120, odds makers had the total at 202. So I think they went over. Again, I don't think it happens again. Let's look at some more stats with these guys. These are two good or decent, I think, defensive teams. Now, in this matchup also, Atlanta's a slight favorite. Orlando was about 3.5. Now they're about 2.5. That's a no play for me. That's a tough one right there. A little bit of lean towards Orlando, but I think Fournier is out. I have to check on that. I know he's been hurt. All right, back to the totals. We got Atlanta right now. They're averaging 102.3 points per game. They're 20th in the league. Orlando, they're averaging 99.4 points per game. They're 24th. I can see why people want to jump on the over, though, just because of their last matchup. But I don't think it happens. Let's look at these defensive percentages here. Both of them not bad. First, their scoring defense. Orlando's allowing just 103.4 points per game. Atlanta, 103.9. Ranks just better than the middle of the league. They're better than average defensively. And their defensive percentages are fine. Orlando right now, opponents are shooting 45.6% from the floor. That's not great. But they rank 13th in opponent shooting efficiency, and they're allowing opponents to shoot just 49.4% of their two-point shots. That ranks better than half the league. Then Atlanta, just about the same. They rank, they're 16th in opponent shooting efficiency. That's not great, but they're allowing opponents to shoot 49.6% of their two-point shots. So, again, not bad. And then let's get back to their offense now. Not lights-out teams. I mean, you got Orlando. They don't score a ton, and their pace is not that, not super fast. They rank just about 10th in the league. But they're shooting 44% from the floor. That ranks 23rd in the league. And Atlanta, although they are pretty efficient, they rank 20th in the league in shooting efficiency. And they're shooting just 33% from distance. That's probably the worst. I'd have to check on that, but that's probably the worst Atlanta has shot from beyond the arc since Coach Buds has taken over. Because that ranks 28th in the league. That's really surprising for a team that likes to shoot the three as much as Atlanta does. I mean, they rank in the middle of the league in three-pointers attempted. But yeah, I don't think this gets over. Atlanta, they're averaging 85 attempts per game. Orlando's allowing about that. I don't think this gets over that. That's a little bit too much. That was an anomaly. That 131 to 120, that's not going to happen again. I'm going to go under that total. All right, let's get to the next one. I was on that one a little bit too long. Great matchup here. We got Portland and Golden State. Right now, odds makers have it at a high total, as you have to with Golden State. That game versus Denver was bananas. I had the under on that one too, and they went absolutely crazy. Started out at 224. It's now dropped to 223.5. Well, 224.5 is what it started at. And I'm going under this total. So I got it over and two unders. And the line dropped. That's a little bit interesting. But that's a lot of points for a Golden State team that's playing some really good defense. And Portland recently is actually playing a little bit better defense. Last time they matched up, 135 to 190. Odds makers had it at 234 when they went under. The time before that, now we still got Stotts and Kerr are still, in charge. So we can look at their last several ones where they matched up. The only personnel difference really in the last couple years is Durant. I mean, really. I mean, it's pretty much the same makeup of guys. You got, let's look at some of their totals. This is kind of interesting too. So last matchup was 234, and they went under. But they ended up at 225. Then it was at 226, 217, 214, 212. That's going backwards. So odds makers have slowly but surely gone up. Actually, let's go back even more. 212.5 is what I meant to say. Then 212, then 210. So if we go consecutively back from that is May of 2016. They had the playoff games. They've gone up the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The last 7 times they've gone up. Odds makers have set the total higher. Do you get my drift? I think you get my drift. So, so this one today is actually, now they've gone lower than what they set up last time, which I think they have to, because it's getting ridiculous in the NBA how many points these teams are scoring. But that 223.5, I think that sets up about right. So first I want to look at the last time they matched up when Portland just scored 90 points. And that's really what, look, when it's at over 220, both teams have got to go. And I think the way Golden State's playing defense, I think they're going to be able to, keep Portland to a reasonable number. If Portland wants to hang with Golden State, they can't get up and down the floor. Any team that wants to get up and down the floor outside of Cleveland, you're not going to beat Golden State, period. Denver proved that. And that's a really fast team because they'll run you over. They're just way too good. In that last matchup, Portland shot under 40% from the floor, and they shot 28% from distance, that 135 to 190 the last time they matched up. Now, Golden State scored 135 points, and they're capable of doing that at any night. I just don't think they do it tonight because in that matchup, they shot 58% from the floor, and they shot 50% from distance. Even for Golden State, that's ridiculous. The pace, Portland got up 86 attempts, Golden State got up 87. That's not really super fast. When you're seeing 90, 91, that's a lot of attempts. So I don't think they get to that 223.5. Let's look at some more stats real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. All right, so Portland right now, they're averaging 107.3 points per game. I got to get more coffee. They're ranked 7th in the league. They right now, I was just reading, they have about a 50% chance of making the playoffs. That's a good team. They should get there. Golden State, do I need to talk about them really? I mean, seriously, they rank first in the league in just about every offensive category except for three-point shooting percentage, where they're shooting just 38%. That ranks 4th in the league. Gosh, they are so good. They are so good. Now, Portland is going to have to play some defense tonight. The tempos, Golden State wants to get up and down. We know that. But I think after what they just did against Denver, I don't think this is going to be as fast. And Portland right now, they're averaging just 85.5 attempts per game. That's ranked right in the middle of the league. And I think they're going to have to try and control some tempo if they're going to even hang in this game at all. Right now, they're big double-digit underdogs, as they should be. Portland, they're shooting 45.7% from the floor. Golden State, again, they're off the charts. But this is really the guts of the play tonight. Golden State has stepped things up defensively. And let's talk about their defensive percentages, and then we're going to go ahead and be done with this. Golden State is allowing opponents to shoot just 32.2% from distance. That ranks first in the league. They allow opponents to shoot 43% overall. That ranks first in the league. They also rank first in the league in opponent shooting efficiency. And they rank second in opponent effective field goal percentage. That is a good defense. And this is why they won the championship 2 years ago. Defense, and then they turned that into offense. So I'm going to go back under the total. 223.5 is a bit too much. And I know a lot of guys might be scared to go ahead and take the under against Golden State, but I think that's the right play. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to back under the total. That's it. Those are our NBA totals. I have no lean on that Golden State game. They could blow them out, or Portland could lose by 16. And real quick, anything else I wanted to mention? I think the Chicago-Cleveland game is a little bit interesting tonight. You might want to take a look at that because Cleveland, everybody's sick. So take a look at that game. That line just dropped dramatically. And I kind of like New York to go ahead and pick up a win tonight, even though Milwaukee's a little bit of a favorite. And that Orlando-Atlanta game is going to be a good one. That's it as far as spreads. Okay, let's break down those totals one last time. I got New York and Milwaukee over the 212. In a game, I think New York's going to control the tempo, and they're going to get up and down. Atlanta and Orlando, we're going under right now. 208 is the highest one I have. That's a bookmaker. They also 207.5 at most places. I'm going under because I just don't think they're going to shoot at the same percentage that they did where they were just lights out that last game. I just don't think that happens again. And finally, the last one we got is Portland and Golden State, where that line actually dropped from 224.5 to 223.5. But there's still a long ways to go until that game goes off. So watch to see where that line goes. I'm going to guess it's going to go up just because it's Golden State and people want to bet the over on Golden State. But I think the smarter play is on the under, so that's what I'm going to stick with. Those are our NBA totals. I hope you enjoyed the segment, and we're going to try and be doing this every day where we're talking about the totals and doing this live. So that's it. And as always, I wish you luck on your picks today.